Good morning, Warren. This is Mr. Kangas coming back again with my gratitude garden for the week. A lot of things to kind of touch upon, I think, this week. Um, just the flexibility of everyone, parents, teachers. Um, the I would really like to give a big shout out to the transportation department. I know they're still operating with fewer buses, fewer bus drivers, um, and schedules for those buses keep having to shift slightly as they lose buses and lose drivers, and they're doing the best they can, and they've been very flexible, very positive, and I know it's been rough. As parents, kids having longer bus rides and having a little bit of unpredictability and stuff, but they are working their tails off. Our custodians here at Warren, worked all summer understaffed, maintained positive attitudes. Anytime we need something, they do not hesitate to get on top of it. Um, our kitchen staff has been great as we are once again in a year where everything is different. They've been very adaptive and flexible to our needs to try and make the whole lunch process as smooth as possible for the kids and as safe as possible, which is going to be an ongoing thing that we're monitoring and tweaking and adjusting as the year goes on, especially as we get more resources. We will hopefully be getting an order of desks in come October, which should definitely help out with a lot of things. Our secretaries have been out straight. I know Nikki is here later than she is supposed to be most nights. Same with Sue. With the delays in transportation due to what I mentioned before, with the longer bus rides and stuff, there's always at least one secretary here helping buses that are, have missed a stop or aren't sure where a kid is supposed to go because of a schedule change, or the kids telling them that they're supposed to go somewhere different, but there's been no notification that the kid needs to go somewhere different. The secretaries are always here helping field those concerns or issues, or if parents call wondering where their kid is, because there's been a delay. And on top of that, registrations. We have a whole new process for registrations, and we are just getting bamboozled with new kids every week. This week alone, we have 5 kids that we've had to register and are looking to try and place and find room for, and and that's stressful for everybody. And they're on the front lines, kind of managing all of that. Our nurse has been out straight. I was talking to her yesterday, and she's just, it's been one of the busiest starts to a school year in a long time. A lot of kids up in the nurse's office, obviously, yesterday. We had our first case of COVID come in where we had to contact trace, and she was super, stressed because there's all kinds of different guidance now around that. It's similar but different, and trying to navigate that is stressful, and it's a long process to engage in. And she was working. Our nurse is always here. Heather Emerson, around the clock. A lot of times, 5:30, she's still here. Doing paperwork and catching up on phone calls, and so she's been super positive, super reliable, super kind. I know you guys at home have been, whenever she's had to call, like 99% of the phone calls have been understanding, positive, caring, and so that's definitely a big help. everybody is stressed and under pressure, and more so than I think ever, just because on top of normal school pressures, we have all the COVID stuff and the concerns about community and the divisiveness and perception of everything, and so to like make a potentially contentious phone call and have it go well and have people be understanding, like it's a game changer for us. So really thank you for that. I continue to just love being in this district, where I think that from the bottom on up, we have a lot of people that really prioritize social emotional learning and what's best for kids, and we're starting to really take I think what I would consider a more objective look at education and our role as educators, which is something I'm going to talk a little bit more about in some other videos. I'm going to make a video series that I will release, and that will be part of my discussion that I have. Is what is education? What is the role of education today and educators today, as we have all of this experience with over 100 years of public education at this point, or I don't know if it's exactly that. Depends on what you consider the start of public education. Public education to the degree that we have it now, or with the emphasis that we have on it now, really started probably in like the late 30s, early 40s, is when it started to really kind of get a lot of push behind it. But so less, but we still have tons of data, decades of data. Sorry about the tangent. To look back on and be like, there are certain things that have been effective, and certain messages that have been sent about school that we know to be false. And so I'll talk about that in some other videos. I've got what I feel is, in general, a pretty different view on education, but I think is slowly starting to become more of a mainstream view as time goes on. And I love that in our district, I can speak up and give my opinion on something and get on a soapbox about something, and it's okay. Like I know that if I disagree with something during the budget season or during an admin team meeting, and I speak up about it, that it's going to be okay. I'm allowed to have a voice. I'm allowed to have an opinion, and I also know that if I put my opinion out there and it happens to not be what the final decision is, that's okay. We'll move on. We'll accept what is, and we'll work with what we got. So I really appreciate that about that. I've never spoken up about something and walked away thinking that, like, no, I'm gonna be in trouble because I had a different opinion, or I'm gonna be judged harshly, So that's a great feeling. I continue to get really positive feedback from staff. A lot of people making that effort to reach out and say thank you for things, which is something that we've been really, really putting a lot of time and energy into discussing and thinking about and practicing here, because I think a culture of gratitude is huge when it comes to building a community, when it comes to developing trust, and when it comes to managing conflict. If we can't feel comfortable reaching out and expressing and giving attention to the positive things that are going on, then you're going to struggle with those other things, such as trust and conflict resolution. And teachers have been awesome this year. We have a brand new master schedule that's like way more complicated than it has been in past years, and there are reasons for that. There's a lot of things we've been able to accomplish with it that I'm really excited about. And again, I'll talk about in that video mini-series in more detail, but super excited about playing with this schedule, and the teachers have been awesome about giving me feedback on it so we can make the little tweaks that are necessary to make this work, and really giving this an honest go. And I'm really excited about the changes that have taken place as a result. And yes, the schedule being more complicated definitely entails more work, but I'm crossing my fingers and hoping that it will be a worthwhile payoff in the end. And we will see. We'll come to the end of the year when we review how the year went, how the schedule went. I'm really eager to get some feedback. Obviously, I'll be getting feedback throughout the year as well, but I'm really looking forward to sitting down at the end of the year and really taking a good hard look at how this new schedule went. And obviously too, one last big shout out. Our assistant principal, Miss LaPerriere, she continues to just, fit right in and is just always positive, willing to jump up and help anyone with anything. And she just has hit the ground running this year, out helping kids navigate through difficult situations, dealing with, behavioral issues, helping parents understand IEPs and working through all these meetings. She's been a great addition to the team, and and she's got a super bright future in administration down the road when she decides to pursue the next phase of her career, which she's going to be great at what she does. And so we're lucky and fortunate to have her while she's at this stage in her career. And, I just couldn't ask for a better place to work with better people. I mean, everyone's just super great. And, as any community, we go through our, ups and downs, but I think overall we have more ups and downs, and really looking forward to what the rest of the year brings. We have our first open house scheduled for next week, so there's naturally some anxiety around that with everything going on. It's like, this is one of those things where it's not a typical year, right? Like normally we put open house on the books, and we just don't really think about it until open house gets here, and then we have open house. But now with all the COVID stuff, it's like, we've got open house, and then it's just, you spend, I've been spending the last 2 weeks, I'll spend the next 2 weeks, awake at night thinking about okay, is there anything else we could do to increase safety? Should it be virtual? Should it not be virtual? What are the pros and cons? How much do you scale back? We want to work towards some sense of normalcy, but we also want to keep people safe. And so giving people the option to come in person, they don't have to come. We're trying to split the people who are coming onto the 2 different levels of the building. Is that enough? And just with every decision that you make now, this, with last year and this coming year, you constantly are questioning yourself. Did I go, did we take it too far? Are we not doing enough? It's just unlike anything ever before, and you just never know what next week's going to bring. And of course, there's the natural divisiveness that comes with all this stuff. Everyone's got their own opinions, and thankfully, again, another shout out to the community, because I know that there are vastly different opinions out in our community, but the vast, vast, vast majority of people out there have been super supportive of us in trying to navigate this unprecedented time. So I do appreciate that divisiveness, or those differences of opinions, I guess I would say, have not resulted in people being nasty with us or mean to us, or they haven't brought it into school, which I appreciate. So that is my gratitude garden for the week. Really appreciate everyone who tunes into these, and I will be back next week.